Fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests. I'm not going to tell you anything new today. I'm hoping, in fact, though, to inspire you to remember things you already know and to use them in your life to make your life better. Life has many challenges, and some of the ones that I want to talk about today are stress, disappointment, and worry. We all have recent, I'm sure, if we think about it. I was on my way down here in the elevator, giving myself my talk, reminding myself of these things because I was feeling very stressed. So I think all of us, without much trouble, can think of times when we felt stress or disappointment or worry. So I'm hoping that these things will be first in your mind next time you encounter this issue. The kind of stress I want to talk about is things that involve time and tasks, not necessarily difficult people, because that's a whole other speech. But when we're given a lot of things to do, which we are, and we have very little time to do them in, that can create a feeling of stress. So one technique or one tactic for dealing with stress is just to be practiced in it. All of us who come to these meetings experience maybe the anxiety of getting up and talking in front of other people or preparing a speech. Oh my gosh, I this week have to prepare baked goods for 2 different things. I had the speech. We had on Monday night, we had kids coming over to cook in our house for 4-H projects. I can think of a couple more things. So it's the sort of thing that can be daunting. But if we give ourselves a few minutes, maybe at the beginning of that week, we know it's going to be a rough week. And I know for myself, I'll say, you know what, it's going to feel really good to get to Friday this week. I'm going to feel really good when I get all these things checked off my list. But in the meantime, I'm going to think about what I need to do. So for the baked goods, I can buy things. That's one approach. I love to bake though, so I hate to give up my opportunity to bake. I just need a reason. So instead, when I go to the store, I might think about what do I want to make on Thursday night so that I can get what I need and not stress out about it on Thursday night. So you make a plan when you have a whole bunch of things to do. Make a plan. Envision yourself, if it's that day or that week, envision yourself going through all the tasks that you have to do. If, for instance, and this has happened to me, I know I have a meeting every Wednesday from 10 to noon, and then I have Toastmasters from noon to 1, so I'm not going to get to eat till about 1:15. I'm going to be one hungry bear. So I'm going to take something with me to my 10 to noon meeting so that I'm not starving when I get here. So that sort of planning can help prevent snags. If I know I'm going to go from one meeting to another and then take kids to appointments across town right after their last bell, maybe I can get in touch with the teacher and get them dismissed about 5 minutes early and avoid that crunch and get across town. So looking for snags or opportunities. Opportunities, as I mentioned, might be things like picking up the baked good ingredients on Sundays, because I don't have to do it Thursday when it's crunch time. Once you've made a plan, stick with it, but live in the moment. You already thought it all out. You don't have to worry anymore about what you're going to do next, because you know you have your snack, you have your baked good ingredients, you have whatever it is you need to do. You've already emailed the teacher and arranged things. So live in the moment. Just check through that list of things. And life always will throw you a curveball, but if you're living in that moment, you just adapt. Don't freak out, just relax. You're going to be able to just take this in stride and go back onto your plan. So that's how to deal with stress. Those are my advice for how to deal with stress. Disappointment. I strongly recommend a number of things. When it comes to disappointment, things happen to us in life that, does everybody's life go perfectly? No. Do we think everybody else's life goes perfectly? Sometimes, right? We got to keep perspective on that. But when things happen to you that are disappointing, go ahead and have your feelings. A lot of times we deny ourselves, no, I shouldn't feel this way. You know what? Give yourself 5 minutes to feel that way. Why? Partly because it's healthy. It's good to be able to feel the range of emotions, not just allow ourselves anger and happiness. We can be sad. We can live through it. A lot of times for raising children, we want to fix things, prevent their disappointment, but we're not serving them in the end. life will give them disappointment, and it's better that they learn how to handle disappointment now with little stuff. What white skates, right? Or, white skates instead of the black ones he wanted. Things happen to us, right? So don't dull them. Don't eat them away, drink them away, gamble them away, shop them away. Have the feelings, come to terms with it, and even go ahead and cry if you want to, because crying actually releases the chemicals that build up in us during a stressful time. So you physically will feel better. If you need to, go somewhere safe, let it all out, you'll feel better. Then, we're not going to dwell. We're going to extract the lessons. Boy, I'm really disappointed I didn't win first place in that contest. Boy, I'm really disappointed I didn't get that job interview. What did we learn from that? Rather than placing blame, saying, oh, it's because they cheated, or it's because life isn't fair, it's because they have a prejudice against me. Whatever it is, no, think about what you could do differently next time that will save you that experience. Because it's much more empowering when we think about what we can do differently next time. Because that's in our court. We can control that. We can't control what other people are going to do, think, say to us, whatever. So just focus on what you can do to make things better. And then be kind to yourself. Surround yourself with people who are positive. And you guys all have a leg up because here we are. This is a group that's very positive, very energizing. For our guests, I recommend the group to you for that reason alone. But surrounding yourself by positive people gives you a sense of justice in the world. Things will work out. There's a bigger plan in play. Rather than feeling defeatist that life is like this. My son, I will bring him into this, was born with a cleft lip and palate, and he has had a number of surgeries over his life. But he still looks a little different from everybody. And he's in 7th grade, and I think Art mentioned him last week, actually. 7th, 8th grade? You guys remember? That was a tough time. You want to be just like everybody else, or maybe just a little better, you know? And it's hard to look different, be different. So we had this conversation on this earlier this week. He was saying how he's ugly, he doesn't look right. People see it, it's all. I said, you know what? It's hard to be overweight. To which he goes, you're not overweight, Mom. I was like, I wasn't worried about me. I was just saying, you know, for a 7th grader, it's hard to be overweight. Or someone, you know, it's hard to be small. It's hard to be big. It's hard to be unathletic. You know, I mean, there's a lot of things that we all have to come to terms with. That's part of who we are. So, okay, go ahead and feel that, but then let's give you some good messages now. And I went into some things I really like about him, or both kids, because Lydia was saying there too. So we can dwell on the positive once we're ready. So have those feelings, learn your lessons when you're ready, and then surround yourself by positive comments, positive thoughts, and positive people. Finally, worry. Now, Gretel worried, Hansel planned, right? So having a plan isn't the same as worrying, and vice versa. But the thing about worry, if you know something is a possibility, it's one thing to plan for it, it's another altogether to just sit and worry. Worrying is not productive. It is natural, it happens. But this was advice my sister shared with me some time back. If you're worried something's going to happen, and you spend a lot of time worrying about it, and it does happen, you've lived through it twice, right? And if it never happens, you lived through it unnecessarily. Didn't need to do it. So live in the moment. Again, that's another one. In addition, we all know to eat well, sleep well. Eating well is, you know, we can have too much caffeine or too much sugar, and that just creates this feeling of anxiety and then tiredness. Those things make it harder to deal with stress, worry, disappointment. Sleeping well helps you to think clearly, make your plans. I recommend getting some exercise because of the direct benefits of feeling better physically. But it also gives you the endorphins to feel better inside. And it gives you some time to think. So making those plans, coming to terms with the disappointment, gives you something to do while you're worried. And finally, as another wise Toastmaster has said, focus on your breathing. you're stressed, stop and pay attention to your breathing, and it will slow down. And that tells your brain everything's okay. Once your brain gets the message, your body will relax, and then you can deal with life's challenges. So have your feelings, accept what is, make a plan, and live in the moment. Mr. Toastmaster.